Psyche is the goddess that I was bringing in the energy with and connecting with. Psyche ended up being with Eros. Eros is like Cupid, okay? In these old stories, Cupid, Eros, one and the same. Aphrodite, Venus, one and the same. So it just depends on, like, in the world where you are. It's the same thing. Like, Egypt is the Egyptian version of Mary and Jesus. Like, Osiris and Isis is basically Mary and Jesus' story, in the sun worship that was going on in Egypt is modern day Christianity, which it seems to be a thing. And even in other countries and other places in the world, there's like modern, tales that are basically the same. And there's the tales of there being a flood and all of that, like, across the globe. It's just however these places decide to be like, hey, this is what we're gonna name them, and this is what we're gonna say about it. And most places have their own PR agents and spin things to be the best. So Christopher Columbus came on over here and he did wonderful things. The energy that has been coming up within the collective, I have noticed just by observing and seeing online, like, other people who do readings, like the little shorts that are on YouTube, the little, like, things that go by, like recommended videos, the names of them, they're like, nah, nah, nah. There's always something going on right now that I keep seeing, and it's like, I'm not clicking on it. So if I don't click on it, I'm not going in there, I'm not engaging with it. So that's how social media works. It's like, if you engage on something, you say something out loud near something, you talk about something, type something, Google something, whatever, that all gets like bloop, bloop, and then they direct other things at you that are similar to that, and everything gets categorized in that way. So when I see things that I have not verbally done, typed in, or clicked on more than one time, I feel like that's usually spirit being like, hey, this is a thing. And I've actually been seeing things for a long time in regards to, jealousy, resentment, hate, people just being in those energy. I think I think it's a normal thing that goes on all the time, but sometimes it's more like present, or it's more hyped up, or people are more impacted, or more triggered, or more jealous, or more fearful. Because if you're in a vibration of lack, or you're in a vibration of not feeling good about yourself, or you're in a vibration of some sort of way, and then all of a sudden you see somebody that's like doing good or looks good, or you perceive them to be in a much better position than yourself, they may trigger you if you don't have the awareness or the wellness within yourself to realize, like, it's not their fault and there's not anything that they could do to appease you anyway. So hating them or resenting them or being jealous of them isn't going to get you anywhere. But it's just something that seems to happen. So Aphrodite, Venus, she had heard about Psyche. The only name I saw for Psyche was Psyche, but I did also find out that they called her the goddess of the soul. But I never found, like, the second name for Psyche. But Psyche was born to a king and queen. They had 3 daughters, and Psyche was gorgeous beyond, like, normal human being. She was, like, compared to the gods. She was compared to Aphrodite or Venus. She didn't like that. She was jealous. She was pissed off. She didn't like this new, thing coming in and stepping on her territory, and people being like, comparing and all of that to some human, because she was a goddess, and oh my god, what the fuck? So she was not happy about it. And Eros, or Cupid, her son, within the version that I had read, he was her son. There's other ways of telling the tale, but she sent him after Psyche. She wanted to make him use his little magical arrows to make her fall in love, or to be connected and committed to the worst possible man that he could come up with. Like, has no money, has no this, has no that. He's going to be a miserable, mean, horrible, toxic, no good, very bad man. Like, the worst guy. Basically, you're just like, sentence her to death because he's probably going to kill her. He's just a piece of shit. And I don't know why. I'm like, if you think about it, like, it's not gonna stop her from being beautiful, dude. Like it's just gonna make her like be with some horrible, ugly, mean man. Like that doesn't fix the problem. But that was her way of approaching it, and he, Eros didn't have such a great, you know, track record anyways for doing good things with his arrows, because he was responsible for people who would end up like cheating on their wives or having adultery going on and all these things that are playing out that come from being in love or being obsessed in love, or falling for somebody that maybe you've already been in a situation and now you're feeling like infatuated because of some magical arrow. So he had done things already for her, his mother or his friend, um, that were basically questionable in terms of using his gifts. So it wasn't like a unlikely thing for him to be like, okay, mom, I'm gonna go do that. But some stories said that when he saw her Psyche and how beautiful she was, he chose to just like take her himself. And some stories say that he pricked himself by accident, like he didn't mean it. So again, word of mouth. By the time it gets to us in this modern day era, it's like the tag, things get changed and edited and blah, 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 blah. It's not always exactly how it was. So um, he ended up falling in love, and the family of Psyche decided that they were going, like, they found out, and okay, and they decided to take her up into the mountains and like leave her on a rock so that this horrible man that's out there in the world, because that's the fate that they were like, oh, like, Aphrodite said that, okay, like they did, like they took her up there and just dropped her off to be murdered, um, or to die, basically. Like they thought she was gonna die. Like in the thing I read, they were like, oh my god, she's just gonna die. Like they're just leaving her on a rock with some horrible, mean, like really not good person. But they did that, and she kind of wandered, and the wind picked her up, cast down to this like magical castle that was beautiful, and it had like golden floors and diamonds and pearls and all this like beautiful rubies and gems and just like really 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 nice things, really high class, valuable, like precious stuff all over the place. And it was kind of like a magical castle, and the wind was at her beck and call, and the wind was like playing instruments and delivering food and doing whatever she needed, drawing a bath. And so she's out there in this beautiful castle, of like precious things. And then at night he would come, but he would come in a way that he could not be seen. Okay, so the story I was like, he was like invisible. She couldn't see him, but she could feel him. She knew he was there. They got to know each other. And he would only come at night, so it was like all day long she was by herself with the wind, hanging out, having her meals delivered. And at night he would come, and they would make love, and they were in love, and blah blah blah. And he just told her he could never like show himself to her, and like basically, hey, can you just be cool with that, and don't ask to see me because it would cause problems. I feel like that was basically a thing to do with protecting her from her, because he was hiding her there. He was supposed to have sent her off and basically like people think she's dead, or in a really bad place that nobody would really want to be, like with an actual beast or something. But the parents of Psyche got really upset and emotional. Oh my god, my daughter. And the other two daughters found out, and they came rushing home, and they asked like, what's going on, what happened? And they told them, and they're like, well, we're gonna go to see if we can find her, if she's still at the rock. So they went out into the woods to look for her, and they ended up finding where Psyche was in the castle. And they got there, and they see all these beautiful things in this like amazing place, and it's like nothing like what they've heard. Like they thought she's off to like go die in the woods, or that she was gonna be with some horrible mean man. And turns out she's like living like a life of luxury. And then both of them got jealous because they had got married to kings, but their kings were old kings, and they were like messed up, and they're they weren't working so well. And like I think one of them, the thing said, it was like they were constantly like having to help them like physically, like changing diapers and stuff. Basically, they were jealous, and Psyche like tried to accommodate them while they were there and tried to be nice to them because she had all these things and all this stuff, and it was like whatever. It's like you're living with a god. I mean, it's infinite supply. So she was like giving them all these like things like gold and diamonds and whatever was there that they liked or wanted. She just, here you go, and she sent them on their way. But while they were there, they like got into her head about he must be horrible, he must be hideous, he must be like a demon and blah 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 if she cannot see him with her physical eyes. So they got into her psyche and messed with her mind, and eventually, that got to her, and she ended up trying to, see him. So he was asleep one night, and she like, turned the light on to look at him. It was, one story is a candle with wax that dripped onto him. Another one is a lantern with hot oil that dripped onto him. And when that happened, he awoke and he realized that she was seeing him, and he got mad and he took off. He ghosted her, he run her. So she went on the journey of the hero's journey. The hero's journey is like something that like they talk about in like marketing, and it's used in a lot of the books and like media and movies and things like that. It's usually like it's something a lot of us go through, in one way or another. If it's like whatever things you've faced in your life that was difficult, you have like the thing, and it's like, oh my god, and then you fight the thing, and you overcome it, and then maybe there's like another thing that comes up, and all of that. So hers was basically, this happened, he found out, he leaves, so she goes off trying to find him. Now, she hates her, and she's pissed that he's like, whatever. So he went to his mom's, and like, he's all hiding off in the woods, like, not talking to her. And so Aphrodite messes with her because she don't like her. She was like, puts her on this thing of like, okay, gives her all these impossible things to do, gave her the seeds and blah, 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 all these beans and things mushroomed together, rice, like just stuff that was like mushed together, and was like, I'm going out for the night here, separate these into the appropriate piles. If not, like, basically you're not going to go any further from here. I'm not going to help you to get, back to him. So she thought she was doomed, but then all these ants showed up and helped her and separated everything. She came back from the party and was like, what the hell? Because this was like an impossible feat. She set it up to be that way, but she overcome the first hurdle. And then the next one was like golden wool from sheeps. And as her way out to this field where these golden wool sheeps are, there was like a tree or something out there that spoke to her, told her like, hey, during the hot sun, you don't want to go near them because they get mad and they're like, and they'll ram you and kill you, and you don't want to deal with that. If you wait until the afternoon when the sun shifts and the wind blows and everything, and you go to those bushes over there, you'll be able to just gather all that wool and have it, because it just came out like throughout the day while they were like doing their shit. So she did that. Second thing, boom, done. Third one, I believe it was like a 3-headed dog or some sort of like crazy thing that she had to go in and like, maneuver her way through. She ended up doing all of these things and like getting through all this stuff, and it ended up at some point like he needed to do something, and because I feel like she was pissed off. She didn't want, like, it didn't matter what tasks this girl completed. It was like she was gonna make sure her life was hell. So he went to his dad up, in the clouds, in the land of the Titans, and was like, Dad, blah, 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 because he loved her. And it was the first time that he showed like vulnerability or actual compassion and care, and his dad was like, oh, so he helped him, and they ended up being able to come together in the end. So, the main reason why I had connected with this energy was because of like multiple things. We have Valentine's Day coming up, so obviously Cupid, Eros, Venus, Aphrodite is like, okay, I'm gonna probably want to do Aphrodite Venus for Valentine's Day in February, but we're in January right before then, so Psyche and Eros kind of just like is the thing that makes sense for that. But then you look at the collective, and we have all these people who are jealous, and the karmic is jealous of you, or this is happening, or that is happening, or there's somebody in your family that hates you. There's like, I keep seeing these things like just weird random things that are like your family members, your friends, people close to you, people that you used to know, people like your person, your romantic interest is jealous of you. Like that's literally how much of this I've like, what? Like I don't know why. Like I don't believe that on the level of like all of those things being true. I believe that that energy is in the collective and it's manifesting in the collective for everybody in different ways. For some of us, it may be that whoever we're connected to for a twin flame is jealous of whatever we have going on. For others, it could be that our parents are jealous of that. Oh, your life is better than my life. For others, it could be that your best friend is getting jealous because of something, or the karmic, in those situations could be jealous if they know about you. But I feel like it's manifesting in different ways. It could be like when you work, other people who do the same work as you, they could be jealous that you're doing a better job than them. It just is a thing, and it is something that I've had happen my whole life, and it's uncomfortable to talk about, like her being that beautiful girl. The reason why like she was still single and alone while her sisters were often married to these other kings and stuff is because these men were too intimidated to talk to her. They were oh no, she's too beautiful. So she doesn't know that though. And so because she doesn't know that, she probably is insecure about it. What's wrong with me? Like why doesn't anybody want to talk to me? Because it doesn't matter how beautiful a person is. If things are happening around them that like indicate something's off, or you have a bunch of people hating you, or you have a bunch of people that are acting, weird or differently towards you, and they're not telling you, oh, it's because you're so beautiful. Like, your psyche gets messed up, and you don't know what the problem is a lot of times. So, it can impact in different ways, and it becomes uncomfortable to talk about because you don't want to be seen as like a narcissist or somebody who's like all conceited or whatever. Like when you do deal with somebody who's jealous of you, speaking on that sucks. It's like, oh, like I know what the problem is, but I don't want to say what the problem is because then I look like a weirdo. I look like like I'm full of myself, like, but I've had it play out with people in the past where it's like pretty blatantly obvious like that has to be what the problem is. And I've noticed like with my sister, she has people do it to her for certain things that play out. She went to the cheerleading thing with my little niece. There was a man there with his wife. He spoke to her in the line. Like he just spoke to her. But this woman that was with him now hates my sister. Passively aggressive attacking her, sending her messages that like just increasingly getting like more and more like horrible towards her, and impacting my niece so that now my niece can't do the baseball for this year because she doesn't like the fact that her husband spoke to my sister. My sister didn't do anything except for be existing and living in her world, in her life. It's not her fault. Like she didn't do anything except for be there. And that's the type of shit that happens. And it's uncomfortable. And it's awkward and it sucks because it's like you don't want to complain about that either. Like, oh, I'm so beautiful that people are mean to me, or I'm so beautiful that guys won't talk to me. Like it's a weird place to be. It's very hard to explain. It's very hard to verbalize it without feeling weird about it. So a lot of times you don't say anything, and because of the way these things play out, because of the way people treat you, in the room for doubt, and the way our psyche works, you don't usually feel like that anyhow. Even if you like at the gut of the base that like that person's jealous or that person's doing this because of that, you still doubt it. You still wonder, like, well, maybe not. Maybe I'm just a horrible piece of shit. Like, we all have our insecurities. We all have our things that, we can feel badly about. And the way that this world has become so focused on things like that doesn't make it any better. And even if you are a beautiful person, nobody is out here usually feeling like, because of the conditioning of society with like, oh, this is what beauty is. This like stick figure here that's been photoshopped and has all these like surgeries done and has become like, a walking thing that's like their physical essence of who they are right now is completely different from who they were. They've changed themselves entirely. And then on top of that, when you get to see them through their filters and their editing and their things, they look even different from what's being presented in the 3D. So, you know, it's like there's these altered versions of people being shown to the world, and of this is beautiful and this is like what you should, you know, attain to have. And I saw recently a thing with like Kim Kardashian, and she was like, oh, well, if I could, you know, do this, like if I could maintain my beauty standards or whatever, like whatever it is like that she has going on in her world, like she was like, oh, well, if I could do it, then obviously it is, like, it's doable. Like, you could do it. I'm doing it, so obviously it's doable. But what they were, like, what everybody was up in arms about is like, well, Kim, not everybody can afford to have $1,000, like, weird machine thing at night and, like, these, like, serums and these operations and, you know, all these things and a team of people walking around with Photoshop and, you know, all of that stuff that goes into your beauty routine. And it's not doable for the majority of humans, you know. Even if they had the money and all of those things, they may not have the same body type. They may not have the same, you know, like background that would create the genetics that would create the facial features or the things that have manifested within certain people. And I think everybody out there needs to realize too, like, and I think it's starting to happen. I think that may be why this jealousy energy might be coming up, because I feel like people who are not coming from a good place within, that are more focused on that or more focused on ego fuel, like I gotta get the best bag and I gotta have this and I gotta do that, I gotta get the best car, that type of stuff, people are starting to realize like doesn't matter. More and more people are awakening, more people are healing and growing, and because of that I think more people are seeing through and realizing how ugly some of these beautiful people are, not because of their face or their body, but because of who they are within, and on a soul level their truth is being shown. And so as that happens and as they're blasted and shown for who they really are, they may get jealous and triggered and upset and pissed off because they have big egos and they have big things in them that are going to be like, ah, you know, exactly what this story was. You know, she had been the goddess, the most beautiful goddess ever. Oh my God, anybody who laid eyes on her would always compare any other woman to her from then on. So when somebody else came in and they're like, oh wow, I think this one might be better than that. What? She couldn't handle it. Her fucking, blah, she went crazy. And you see this in the world too, like a lot of times women, you know, as they age and they look back at the younger women, there's a weird time there that can happen where it's like some women, especially if they're going through like hormonal crap and they're pregnant and they're like, ah, they get mad at young beautiful women that don't have all that stuff going on, or then all the stretch marks and all the things, all the stuff that comes from having a baby. But if they come out of that like comparison and realize like the stretch mark and the thing and all of that is because you're a woman. You're no longer a little girl. You're no longer a young woman. You now have the wisdom of being a mother. The stretch mark is like your emblem of giving birth to a child. You know, you chose to do that, so wear it with honor and pride, and don't let the fact that like you no longer are that bother you. You chose to be what you're being, you know, and you're doing it like if you didn't have that stretch mark or whatever, like then you probably didn't do it the right way. Because now we get people who do like these things where it's like I ordered someone else to have my baby for me, so that they don't have to go through the physical. And I get that. It's fine if you want to do that, but don't, you know, knock the ones that don't do that and have to come back from it physically, and try to, you know, heal. And last night there was a woman in my town, my freaking town. I was like, ah. She had 3 kids. The 2 older ones she killed, and the youngest one was only like 18 months or so. It was like really young, no, like 8 months old, in the hospital because she almost killed it. And then she jumped out the second story window. Her husband came home from work and she was on the front lawn. He went in, the two older kids are dead, and the baby is like in critical condition because she had postpartum snappy snap and went off. I don't know the full story, I don't know all the details, but I saw the thing. And then my sister was like, "Did you hear about the woman?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So, but that right there shows you how much people get messed up in the head from the hormones and from the experience of, giving birth and being a woman, but also because of society. I'm sure she was going out of her mind, feeling insane, going crazy, and she just probably snapped and probably regretted it. I feel like she might have killed the other two, and then when she was like hurting the baby, like stopped or whatever, because she might have came back into like, oh my god, what am I doing? Especially because it's a baby, like it's not like not that it's okay on any level and anywhere and any age, but I feel like if your newborn baby is a little bit different than, like, it's not gonna fight back, it's not gonna say no, it's not gonna be like, doing anything that would ever, in my mind, get you there. Like if it's screaming and crying and you can't take it, go away somewhere, just like let it happen. And like that's the least, that can defuse the problem in the least problem way. It's not the best ideal solution to let a baby cry and scream if it's upset, but if you can't handle it anymore, go somewhere where you can't hear it and just calm the hell down, man. Like, there's sometimes I want to kill my dogs. They do some horrible shit. They're crazy. They feed off of each other, and there's a lot of them in one me. And if they want to do something, we do it. I don't get to choose. But I would never kill them. So, and I don't want to bash anybody like that, but I do feel like it kind of speaks to the energy that has been present around right now. So if you've been feeling triggered by other people, why do they have this and I don't? Or if you've been feeling like for myself, the way it's been manifesting for me, I've been feeling attacked by like everything. Nothing working for me. I gotta redo things, or it's taking me 6 hours to complete something that should take 5 minutes. None of my apps are working. Everything's failing, and it's like, why is it happening? But what can manifest from that type of stuff is that type of experience where things don't work for you. The energy around you becomes dense. Things become cluttered and dirty. And it's like no matter how much you clean up and no matter how much you try to do, it just comes right back. It's like, oh, here's another mess and here's another mess, and it's not going to get better because there's all this hate coming at you, and darkness and resentment and pissed off, and you trigger someone and this one hates you. The other day I had somebody in one of I have a goddess group that I made years ago. I don't use it, I don't look at it. When you open up the list of groups that I am an admin on or created, it's the very last one on the list because I never do anything with it. I don't even really look at it, but there's like 700 people in there. I have it set with automatic settings, so it's like lets the people in. I don't have to do that. It lets the people post. I don't have to worry about it. And if they have certain trigger keywords or if they have certain things play out with their post, it will, turn the comments off for a little while, or it will suspend that user for a little while, or it will delete and block and, remove that person from the group, depending on what it was. This person messaged me and they're like, why is this? And I'm like, I don't know. So she had put in a post. I don't know what she posted. She didn't tell me what the post was. She just said, it was on the topic, and it was blah, 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 and I put it in there, and now she had like a probation thing. It was like, post got taken down, and she got a warning that she couldn't post in there for, 2 days or whatever. And she was like so upset about this and so offended by it. And I was like, listen, it's automatic settings. I didn't do it. I didn't go in there and do it. I just have settings that are like, universal for the whole world. Pretty standard ones to eliminate problems like scammers or people coming in and taking advantage of other people or posting things that shouldn't be in there. It's to protect everybody, including you, so you don't get scammed while you're in the group. But she was like, this is such a hassle. And I think what was really bothering her was the fact that I didn't care. Because I'm like, oh, like, I don't care. I don't care. You want the group? Like, if she had dealt with me without that, like, off the get-go, I probably would have given her the group. Here, take it. I don't want it. Like, I'm not using it. You want the 700 people in there to market to and do it? Go ahead, take it. I don't care. But if you don't come at me nice, I'm not going to offer you help and support. I'm not going to be nice to you back. And all I was cordial. I didn't say I don't care when I really wanted to. I didn't say anything mean. I just gave her the facts. I was like, listen, it's automatic settings. It's not a personal attack. It's just what is. It's just everybody has the same thing. I said there's certain keywords that can trigger it that are, universal things, and things that would probably be like a blatant, spam, or something that would be a red flag. If the person has no profile picture, if the person just made their account 2 days ago, if the person puts in Grand Rising, just something like that. And she was pissed off, and she said something back, and I was like, well, I'm going to leave the group. It's not worth it, this hassle. And I was like, yeah, I didn't want to hassle either. That's why I put those settings on there. I was like, and if you're personally offended at the fact that, automatic settings did that, then maybe this isn't the group for you, and it's probably best that you don't stay. And she was like, don't talk to me, she was pissed, and she wanted to make me react, and she wanted to fight. And I don't care. So I went to the group and I looked to see if I could see what the problem was, and I screenshotted the settings so that she could see what I was meaning. There's 3 keywords that can trigger a thing. There's a thing that's if a post gets 100 comments in an hour, slow those down, because usually that means there's fighting going on or chaos in there. So I screenshotted them and I sent those 4 pictures, and that was it. I didn't say anything else. I didn't do anything else. I just left it at that. And then she came back an hour or 2 later and was like, since you didn't listen to me, I'm going to block you. And I'm like, and she didn't, because if she did, it would have said it in the thing that you can't respond to this and all of that. So it was like, whatever, lady, you want me to fight with you, and I am not going to. But that energy, that interaction is like a hey, something that can manifest when people are hating on you or jealous or resentful, or just that energy, that conflict, that shit in the air. And I'm not saying that girl would be that way towards me, but her reaction and action to me, and how she came at me, and how that whole thing went up, that can manifest in our life if other people are sending their negativity in our direction. We start having problems with people. We start having issues where we didn't have them. We start having delays. We start having a mess. We start having this heaviness in our life. We start feeling sad and depressed and miserable, and just a lot of what the hell. And it's you are being attacked because of that type of feeling, those feelings. And it doesn't always have to be jealousy. It could just be resentful. It could be, it doesn't have to be about looks either. It could be about what you have, or what people think you have, or what people feel about themselves. It's usually a reflection of whoever is doing it, whoever is hating, whoever is about anybody or anything like that. It's usually how they feel about within themselves, or there's some sort of thing that they're projecting onto others. And I know, because that can cause confusion. It's not everything that you interact with is you created it, attracted it. And not everything that you interact with or you do is a projection. We can create things in our world that aren't constant projections. Projections happen, though. They don't always have to happen negatively. Sometimes they can happen where it's if a person's a toxic, horrible person, they may project that onto you. My ex would always, accuse me of cheating when he was the one always cheating. But as an empath, I can project that deep thing inside of me on the wrong people. There's people out there who murder people, who kill people, who hate people, who would do the type of shit that was going on here in this thing. Or people out there who do that type of stuff, who literally hire someone to curse you or hex you. And there's people out there who will summon demons to do that. Literally do it. Because that's just who they are, that's how they are, that's how they roll, and that they don't have any like qualms about it. You see the scammers. I saw a post tonight about a scammer, and in the thing, they were so manipulative, and they were like, yeah, go ahead, blah, 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 like being a dick, and then the next breath, the person that they were impersonating messaged them. They're like, why are you doing this? This is me. Like, I work hard for this. You're you know, coming in and scamming my people. Oh, my grandmother's sick and I can't afford the medicine and blah, 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 blah. I need to help my sick grandmother. And because that person wasn't, like, falling, like, they were like, if you were truly, they were like, I have spiritual gifts too, but nobody wanted my services or whatever. And she's like, if you were truly a spiritual healer or a reader or whatever, you would know about karma, and you would know not to do this type of stuff. Your guides would guide you in another direction, or figure it out in a different way. And when she said that, that person was like, if you're not going to help me or send me money, so that, like, they were trying to, like, scam the person that they're scamming already, or pretending to be, to scam others, into giving, like, feeling bad for them, empathizing and helping them with money. And that type of behavior is toxic, but it exists. Those are things out there. But if you're somebody that has a deep compassion, or deep emotional, like, I feel bad, I'm sorry, or just you don't have that capability to go to those toxic manipulative ways, you can project your goodness onto the wrong people. You know, say you're dealing with somebody that's really toxic and not good, but, like, you're like, well, maybe I hope deep down in my soul that maybe possibly, like, I don't think they could, you know, we try to give people the benefit of the doubt because we're projecting our good qualities or our goodness into them, feeling like they couldn't possibly be that bad because you can't identify with that, you can't be that. But just in that alone, the fact that you may have interacted with somebody that is not a mirror to you, that does not vibe exactly the same, like you have a conscience and they don't, shows us that the psyche and all of that stuff and all these beliefs that we have and all the things that people talk about, it's not always 100% like the way people portray it to be, you know. And beliefs get messed up like that too, where people are, you know, believing things about manifestation, or believing things about money, or believing things about their world that isn't true, and is just like regurgitated over and over and over. You gotta do this, you gotta do that, blah, 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 blah. Everybody has their opinion, and everybody has these things that they think that are the right way, or the good way, or whatever, or the way that worked for them, or the way that they perceive that it worked for them, so they think that's the way that it needs to be, that everybody else does it. Try not to ascribe to anything like that. Just try to see the circumstances, because I feel like the way that stuff goes, where it's like, oh, you only attract your mirrors, and you're always projecting you into others and things like that, it's creating a bunch of people who feel shitty about themselves, like that they what's wrong with me that I brought this person in, what am I doing wrong? It's like, you know, I'm constantly feeling that way, like trying to figure this shit out, like I'm trying to heal, like, am I a bad, you know? And then I find that my belief is that thinking I'm a bad person, and that's why I can't have peace, and it goes all the way back to being 7 years old, which I'm sure is in there on other levels and other ways and stuff like that has come about. But the way our society is, it makes people feel that way. It makes people feel like they're not a good person, or there's something wrong with them, that they're broken, or that they need to change who they are, or whatever. And that's not the case. So just know that whatever you've been through, whatever you do, whoever you are, wherever you are, you're good. There's nothing wrong with you. You are a human being, you know, you're a spiritual being having a human experience. And while you're here, you're going to deal with people. Some of them are going to be a mirror, and some of them are going to be a lesson. Some of them you may project onto, and it may be positive, and sometimes it may be negative, and other times they may do that back to you. But it's not always black and white, and it's not always, you know, the way that we might want it to be, like based off of some meme we saw, or based off of something that resonated. And if you notice, as you grow and evolve and you heal and you do this work, you will figure that out. Like, you will have these aha moments that take you to that next level of awareness, that next level of consciousness. So that's basically like the psyche, you know. we just got to go in there and keep digging and keep diving and keep learning and keep exploring. And I do believe that as you raise your vibration and your wisdom, because down here, fear, guilt, shame is the lowest vibrations. And then we come up here to logical, like reasoning, and then we come up to love, and then we come up to compassion and, things like that, and then enlightenment. So when we want to be like the highest vibration, enlightenment is that. So that's that information, that's that wisdom that we gain from overcoming the guilt and the shame and the fear and the bullshit that we've been allowing to like make us think things that are wrong. So when we get the courage, which is the transition point to go up to these higher vibrations, we get that courage and we rise up to become, communicative and logical about things, and we start to think about it and we start to process it, and we love ourselves a little bit more. We love others regardless of what they've got going on or don't have going on. Instead of being jealous of people, we applaud people, because we know that if I applaud and I'm supportive and I'm in a good high vibration, I'm not about it, then I'm going to be much more apt to receive those types of things too. Because if I get to that lower about it, I'm not going to ever have those good things that I'm seeing that person have that I would like to have. So you're disservicing self to feel that way about those things. So I think that, again, as we heal our psyche, as we focus on love rather than what's wrong with me or whatever, things will get easier in our lives. And yeah, and then it's funny because these cards now are making sense even for this one. It's a little bit different. But this is Kalima, facing fear. Major spiritual changes are unfolding. This is your chance to soar. So he's about love and she's about self-love. These are two different decks. Like, okay, love and self-love. And then we have this opportunity to face our fears. And Lady Nada is the heart awakening. And it says, awaken to acceptance and divine love. Give and receive in balance. So it's like, just give and receive in balance. If there's people showing up on our path that's like not so good, don't let them in. And I just realized I had the heart chakra one of these too. So love. And then Lord Ganesh is infinite abundance. Obstacles are being removed. Spiritual support and connections are increasing. So we're removing the obstacles when we choose not to go down into those lower vibrations, when we choose not to allow the hate being directed or the fear being directed or the things that are being like fed into our psyche from our collective consciousness, or these false illusions that we look at and comparing ourselves to these things, when we instead choose compassion and we choose love for ourselves and self-love and love for others, and we give and receive in balance, and we don't freak ourselves out or feel like there's something wrong with us. We just accept ourselves and love others regardless of what they're doing or not doing, if they're good or bad, whatever. Just accept that that's who they are and let it be. Because focusing on it, harping on it, and thinking about it is not going to do us any good. It's just going to hurt us. If you're in an experience where somebody's way of being is not good, or it's causing you conflict, it's causing you pain, it's causing you stress and shit like that, get out of there. And if you can't get out of there, disengage from it as much as possible. Reason with yourself to see above it, or to rise up over those experiences. And then Horus was, your thoughts are magnetic and powerful. Miraculous changes are occurring. And when we realize that and we utilize that, we can create amazing experiences, changes, transformation. That infinite abundance can come when we clear those blockages and we choose the better way for ourselves to go, however that is for us. And we don't have to judge it. We don't have to do what everybody else has done, and we don't have to analyze it all to like a degree of sometimes the wisdom or like the best way to think about stuff is to not try to define everything or pinpoint all the details. It's just more so the wisdom to realize we don't have to be down there in those vibrations. We don't even need to know. We don't have to engage in that. We can just choose to love ourselves and love others, give and receive in balance, remove ourselves from the people and the places that are not showing up in those healthy ways, choose to communicate with compassion, and that's going to help us to, heal and grow and be more enlightened and have better days and better experiences. And if that pisses people off, Oh well. And then Ganesh here was the Om Gam Ganapate Namaha. That's the chant. So you just like Om Gam Ganapate Namaha. Om Gam Ganapate Namaha. Om Gam Ganapate Namaha. Om Gam Ganapate Namaha. You can do that. You can play it on a music, like I'm sure YouTube probably has chanting from Ganesh. But it's important at this time to move beyond the limitations of it's not meant to be and focus on this is for my highest good, then the universe will take me there safely. So again, that choice of like, I don't need to freak out about it. I don't need to worry so much. I don't have to feel like I'm in competition or competing or fighting or arguing or projecting or receiving or, whatever. There's no reason to focus on all that. If it's meant for me, it will be. The universe will provide it, and I'm going to focus on knowing that and feeling that and vibrating that and being in that space because I'm much more likely to receive it in that space. But if I focus on the lack and the I don't know and the blah, 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 and the sad and the bad and blah, 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 I'm going to block myself from receiving what could have been, but I didn't allow what was meant to be because I was messing with it. Maybe eventually it will come to be, but if I'm standing in the way of it by focusing on that negative shit, comparing and contrasting, and allowing that stuff to bother me too much, then I'm going to be my own worst enemy. Just the fact that you've come to do this event is a huge thing. Like congratulate yourself on that, because there's people out there that won't even do it. They won't even acknowledge it. I put a post out not too long ago, and I saw it play in it, and it was like a very simple direction within it, but because of the beliefs that person was holding, they were seeing it as a negative thing, and they were like, I don't want to do that because it's negative. No, it wasn't negative. It was literally to help you to overcome negative. It was literally to help you to like figure that out. And once I explained to the person like what it was and why it was the way it was, they realized and were like, oh. But most people won't even verbalize anything about it. They're not going to comment about it. They're not going to like the post. They're not even going to engage in the post. People want bullshit. They want the bullshit. They want to know what is he thinking, what does he feel, all the stuff that does not fucking equate to anything or matter. Because what does it matter? What does it matter what somebody's thinking and feeling if they're not doing shit, and you're not healed, and you're not working on yourself, and you're not showing up to do the work that matters, that makes a difference in your life? If you're not growing and exploring and trying and applying, then you ain't going to be getting anywhere. And if you're dealing with somebody that's so low vibrational and whatever, and you're really focused on that person, then that speaks to a thing of like, well, where are you at, But if you're here in this experience here, right, the fact that you would have even signed up for it, the fact that you would have even taken the time to read what I had put out there, shows that you're not in those places where a lot of people are, where they just want to hear about the karmic, or they just want to hear, oh, he loves you so much, and he misses you so much, and he's just gonna blah, blah, blah. They just want to hear what they want to hear, but they don't want to do anything to improve. They don't want to do the belief work. They don't care. They don't think that there's anything wrong with them. There's a lot of people out there who are in that space of like, it's all his fault. It's him. Well, guess what, motherfucker? It's your twin flame, right? Your twin flame is your mirror. And you think that your mirror is this person, and you think that they're messed up and all these problems, then you must have them too. Like, it's not a personal attack, man. It's just what is. It's like once you realize that the only way you're gonna get better is by stop looking at them as the problem and recognize that you're engaged within it just as much as they are. Whether you're the chaser or the runner or the whatever's going on, and you're not in a healthy union, that's a clear indication that work needs to be done. Healing needs to happen. And something ain't right. But just the way most relationships are, especially romantic ones, if it's not coming together and it's not a healthy union, and you're not liking what you're seeing in them, you're probably mirroring a lot of those things right back to them. You're just not seeing it. And a lot of the people get triggered when you try to help them. They don't want help. And that's why I've suffered in this whole thing too, like since I've figured some things out, and we're like, oh, I need to work on this, I gotta heal that, I gotta figure out attachment theory and this thing and that thing and blah blah blah. The person that I've connected to, I've seen them change leaps and bounds, has a spiritual awakening, has gone through the Munich rites, has gone through the new paradigm, has confessed their deep love and undying, affection, knows that we're soulmates, knows that we're whatever. Like on Christmas Eve, because he was drunk, he all of his emotions, because he's an avoidant person, he cannot vocalize them unless he has like alcohol in there, or something like that kind of releases that resistance. And I get it. I understand. I'm also an avoidant person. I've also really struggled with expressing my emotions, communicating them. My dad, when I was a kid, what's the matter? What's the matter? Nothing. Even though there was something wrong, I couldn't vocalize it. I've had to work on that. I've had to work on myself. And because of all the work that I've done on myself, I've seen the work be reflected back into his life, through him, through how he is showing up and what he's doing, what he's not doing. Like last year, he had gotten into a relationship with a person. He ran away and went and got into a karmic thing and sabotaged. And what most of the people do when that happens is they keep looking at that, and they keep thinking about that karmic person and feeding into that energy and pissed off about it. I'm jealous and mad about that. I found out, because I saw the post like on his Facebook. I unfollowed him so I would no longer see his posts. I confirmed that this was a thing, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I never looked again. I swear to God, I never looked again. And then on Christmas Eve, when he called me, I was like, I thought you had a girlfriend. He's like, that was last year. So I don't know how long their relationship lasted. I don't know when they separated, went their separate ways. I don't know. And so after that call, I did go and look. She took down all of the posts that she had with him on her Instagram, and he had, there's like, the things are gone. All the stuff that was there when they were is gone. So I was like, huh. But I have no idea how long it was, when it was. But he said it was last year, so I'm assuming it was a short-lived thing. But I feel like in the way of my approach to that, right? Had I done what most of the people do, go listen to the karmic readings of all this negative bullshit about this person, and I think about this person in those ways, and I focus on these two being together. He left you for this one. What do you think? Like, that's not going to help. It's not going to get anywhere. That probably would have manifested as, oh, they're still together right now, because when we feed, we are in a projection of our creation in this reality. So whatever we're focusing on, whatever we're doing, is what we're creating. We have all these different freaking timelines, and you can jump timelines. You can create an amazing experience, or you can create a shitty experience. And we've seen this happen probably in our own lives. It's like one day, you're feeling really shitty and things aren't going so well, but then all of a sudden some miracle happens, or something crazy happens, or you just shift energy. Maybe you haven't done a huge jump, but I'm sure you've jumped around. And I'm sure you've manifested things in your life, or things just came together at the right second, or whatever. It depends on the beliefs that you've held onto, because some of us have these protection ones, like, hey, something will happen, something will work out, and we kind of like fall into a net, or something happens that kind of pulls us up out of there. But then, there's the flip side of that, where there's the people who are constantly focusing on the negative. It's the karmic's fault. She's a horrible blah blah blah. It's his fault. He's a blah 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 da da da. And just looking at it and focused on it and being all like within it and consumed by it, it's gonna keep that there longer. So when we want things to be a certain way, we need to be a certain way about creating those things. So hopefully that makes sense, because I really do believe that. And I was aware of it, like, throughout the months, from then till now, like, finding out. I was like, there was times that, like, it would pop into my mind, like, I would feel that, like, inkling, because he was liking my posts and stuff on Facebook, and anytime he would do that, I was like, I would wonder, like, because I felt like she had known about me based off of some things that she had posted, and it was like, because I know shit. I just know shit, okay? So back when I found out that she existed, and I went to her thing, she had posted something, but it was a post that it was like I had done a rail, a specific one that I know that he had a really liked that one because it was like I posted that and he boom called, like I went and seen him. Okay, um, when I saw her thing, found out about her, she had posted the same song thing and like whatever her version of it, and it just felt inauthentic, and it felt like in my head I was like, what my mind was like, I think she copied that, and then this recent time of seeing, going to confirm that they separated, and those things are gone. Her newest post was like a rhymey thing that she wrote out, and I was like, what? Like, because she had never done anything like that before. None of her posts were anything like that. You guys know I rhyme. I write my little things. And it's like, it's kind of weird because that's how my synchronicity is, and how the universe directs me. They show me what I need to see when I need to see it, and like give me those like, hey, haha. So I think she was aware of me back then, and I think she copied that thing, thinking that it was like whatever he liked it. He maybe he had it saved, or she found it, or whatever. I don't know, but I'm sure ever since then she's probably seen my stuff and knows that I do the rhymey thing. So she did one and put it out there because like, I don't know why they do that, but that's that weird shit that happens. Those things like that, if we engage in it too much, because I could go check every day. I have not gone back to look since finding that out. When I found that out, I had that feeling and had that knowing. I feel like it was a reason for me to know it, to be aware of it, to protect myself first of all. Like, okay, this bitch is watching me and trying to do what I do, whatever, and then be aware of that, protect myself, put up things, be like, okay, and then like kind of like subtly be like, dude, I know what you're doing, stop, because you're being weird. And we see these things, these opportunities in our life. So when you have those inklings and those moments where you're like, I kind of feel, just trust it, because 9 out of 10 times you are. And anything I've ever had come like that I felt about Twin, or to do with him or her or anybody or anything at any time, like whatever, like the little things in the back of my head, because he's done stuff over these years that other girls were around or whatever. I always knew. I always fucking knew. Even if he didn't verbalize it, I find out a year later that what I was thinking was dead on. He's confirmed it all for me. So if you do have connections like that, it doesn't have to be a twin either. It could be your family member. It could be your work. It could be your calling for your soul. It's whatever you're supposed to be doing. We want to clear these blocks out and open the pathway. It says, Ganesha is not only bringing a clear light to your external situation, but it's also helping you clear up any inner conflict. When obstacles arise, know that they are just reminders that you care about your path, and that you too have the ability to change your current situation. Ganesh is here to help you. Thank him for clearing the way. To increase your connection to him, you may want to chant in the Sanskrit, Om Gam Gane Pate Namaha. So again, when we have conflict, when we have things, when we have that stuff come up, it's like, it's like a test. It's that hero's journey. Are you going to push your way through? Or are you going to die and fold over and let these karmic people, or the toxic energies, or the haters, or the naysayers destroy your life? So when there's an obstacle, clear it, get it out of the way. If you're emotional and you're feeling sad, go to the bodies of water and spend time near the water, such as lakes, rivers, and the ocean, because it's going to recharge your batteries. It's going to cleanse your emotional energy. And there's an infinite supply of what we need. You are supplied for today and all of your tomorrows. There's enough out there for everybody. That's why I don't get the conflict with the competition and shit, like with work. Like, literally, there's billions of people on the planet. We have a lot of people on the planet. A lot of them. And there's a lot of money on the planet. There's some people who don't have it, and there's some people who do have it. But the people who have it realize that there's enough for everybody, and there's more than enough for you or me or whatever, and we can acquire a lot of it if we allow ourselves to, and we clear those blocks, and we don't sit around feeling like badly about situations or focus on those things that we are not enjoying. Because if we sit there, I'm so sad about this experience that's like, like I can't have money, I'm never gonna, like, if that's what we think about and look at and focus on, that's all it's gonna be. oh, this person that's in the way. If that's all we focus on and look at, that's all there's going to be. That's how this universe is. It's a magnetic thing. You are a magnetic vibrational frequency, and whatever you're rippling out is going to be amplified and magnified and returned to you. And so when you are not doing well, or when you are, struggling or having these obstacles, these problems, we've got to face the fears, we've got to clear the pathways, and we got to choose to love ourselves, because nobody out there is going to come do it for us in a way that matters. Even if we do find somebody to love us, it's not going to fulfill us. It's not going to make us abundant. It's not going to heal us. It's not going to fix us. If anything, it's just going to give us another shit show relationship that probably doesn't amount to anything but more problems and more setbacks and more heartaches and more pain in the end. But if we go into those things healed, and we have that heart awakening, and we awaken that acceptance of divine love, and we give and receive in balance with people and ourselves, and we are responsible for ourselves, and we know that magnetic mind, that doorway, that cosmic gateway that we have, miraculous changes can occur in our world, and they can keep occurring. So we got to be mindful of what we're thinking about, be mindful of what we're looking at. It's okay to see these not so great things, to be aware of them, to have that awareness, that enlightenment, right? I'm gonna be enlightened to the fact that this bitch is out here copying me, but I'm not gonna fucking sit around and focus on it all the time 24/7, because if I do, that's all she's gonna do, and that's all I'm gonna know about, think about, see, because that's all I'm focused on. And then I'm gonna be harped on it, and I'm gonna be consumed by it, and then I'm gonna be making more of that energy and more of that frequency and more of that magnetic thing, and then I might start seeing it where it isn't. And that's the thing that happens too. You start to see shit that's not even there when you're focused on certain things, because you're the manifestor, you're the creator, you're the projector into this holographic experience that we're playing out here. So if you're feeling lack, or you're feeling lost, or you're feeling low, focus on the good, focus on the high, focus on the shift, focus on what you can do to change that and emanate out a different thing, a different focus, a different way of being, so that you can receive a different input. Because whatever that input is, that creating that thing, it's not enjoyable. You're not liking it. It's not where you want to be. So don't keep looking at it, focusing on it. And with Lisa, I know Lisa's got grief right now because she lost a person. Okay, that's a touchy subject, right? That's a thing that she can't control that. She can't change that. No matter how happy she tries to be, it's not gonna change that experience. There's it's pretty final. So it's okay. First of all, it's okay. It's okay that you're sad. It's okay that that's the circumstances surrounding it. It's okay that other people may not understand it or know the details, and it's okay that you maybe don't feel comfortable sharing those details with everybody, because they're not going to get it. They're not going to know what people don't, if they haven't done it, they don't know. And because you have done it, you have that awareness, you've been enlightened to that. This is something that's leveling you up. It's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you more resilient. You're gonna get through it, and you're gonna get to the other side of it, and you're gonna be able to probably have deeper appreciation for things, and you're probably gonna be able to know how to empathize on a way that some people will never know, because there's other people out there who have lost their twin. There's other people out there who have lost their husband. There's other people out there who have been through similar, not the exact same situation, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to tell people all of the details behind it. You don't have to say, oh, blah. You could just say, my twin flame passed away. That's what it was, right? My twin flame passed away. And so now that opens up this pathway of you being able to communicate with other people that have experienced that. Doesn't matter what the circumstances are, or the little tiny details. It's just that happened, okay? My twin flame passed away. So you are grieving that. Release that guilt and that fear or that doubt or that whatever you're believing or thinking, in correlation, in connection to it, on top of it, because of all the other things that had played out, and realize you're the only one that's feeling that way about it, or thinking about that, because you're the only one that really knows that, right? But I feel like you would probably be benefited to be able to find other people to connect with and support, or just feel like a like a resonance with, I feel like there is, because the girl that wrote the book, right, she's a medium. Leslie is a medium. Her twin is on the other side. When I shared that book, there was a couple of people who commented on the video, oh my god, my twin is on the other side. So there are other people out there. We don't know what their circumstances are. They could have been in the exact same position that you were in when that person passed away. So also realize that there may be more of you that aren't saying anything because of the circumstances of feeling like, I don't know, this is weird, like, and I don't think I know any twin flame situation that's like not a little weird and having like crazy dynamics behind it and a lot of complicated parts to it. And nobody understands it anyways, regardless of what's going on, like nobody's family is like, oh, this is healthy and good, regardless, whether there's karmics involved, whether there is, a long-term history, whether we just met, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Usually that's part of the problem, is our families don't get it, the people around us don't understand. It's a difficult thing, it's an odd thing, it's like we feel crazy, we feel like, what the fuck is this? But it is for a reason. And it is probably, helping you in ways that you may not ever understand, but I feel like you probably will, have moments of aha, and moments of like clarity, and moments of release, and moments of, finding joy again and healing from that pain, and knowing like it's okay that you're upset, and it's okay that you are, you had that happen. You're not wrong. You're not a bad person. You didn't deserve to be sad or anything like that. But you signed up for it in this life for a reason, and whatever that reason is, we may never know. But just be gentle with yourself, and know like everybody out here has some crazy stuff going on. Nobody's perfect. Nobody is better than anybody else, and that type of love is an undying love, so it's probably manifested in many lifetimes. And this says the love you have shared is eternal, regardless of the situation. So I feel like this is a specific card for Lisa, in all of us, because regardless of what has happened in our lives or who you are, I don't know if all of you who will watch this are twin flame people. I know a lot of the people who follow me are, but just know, like, whatever the situation is, it doesn't matter. That was the true love that you felt and you shared and you've had. And whatever the things are around it that we've had in our lives, like, nobody's better than or less than. Nobody knows more than, like, you know what I mean? Just know that, like, it's love. Love is love. Love is love. There's nothing wrong with love. Like, we shouldn't feel guilty about it. We shouldn't feel awkward about it. We shouldn't feel badly about it. Like, the fact that we can love somebody that much, that has propelled us on these journeys of healing and overcoming and trying, like, these have been catalysts in a lot of ways for a lot of us, so that we would love ourselves, so that we would do this work, so that we would become better versions of ourselves. And sometimes what that means is we heal and are loving ourselves now so much that we realize they can't love us the way that we need them to. They can't show up for us the way that we need them to. And maybe if, that person was still on the planet, maybe they weren't going to be able to show up for you in the way that you would have needed them to, and it would have still manifested out to be like an outcome that maybe wasn't union, right? So it doesn't always play out how we might want it to play out, or how we feel like, oh, that would be the best. Oh, I would, we have these ideas in our head, and sometimes we do this because it's like a fantasy, or we feel like if we just had that, then that would be great. Then everything will be fixed. But it's not true, because if we aren't good within ourselves, if we haven't done the work within ourselves, and if we are dealing with somebody that hasn't done that work and hasn't healed and isn't okay, then they ain't gonna be supportive, and they're not gonna be the end all be all. They're not gonna give us that at the end of the day. There's gonna be issues. There's gonna be problems if they're not healed, if they're not healthy, if they're toxic, or if they're unable to communicate, if they have issues surrounding relationships, if they have wounds from the past or whatever. Like, that shit causes conflict and chaos. And sometimes, no matter how much chemistry, how much soul connection there is, sometimes the egos that are playing here in this world are just too much. They're just too much. And so you'll come to a choice at some point where you're like, okay, you know what? I'm out of here. I gotta choose me. I gotta choose to love me. And that undying love can be like taken to ourselves. And we can also still have that undying love for somebody and love them for the rest of their days. But that doesn't mean that we have to get together with them. And if that idea of that, like, gives you like anxiety and stress or whatever, like, for those of you who have a person on the planet that you want to unite with, and that just that idea of maybe we don't end up together causes that anxiety, you've got to realize that's a problem, because that's probably one of the main issues keeping it from being, because that's not good. That is codependency. That is a need. That is an obsession. That is I'm placing everything on you, and if I don't get you, I'm not going to be okay. And I don't even want to think about that. Oh my God. And it's a trigger, and I'm mad and I'm upset, and I don't want to think about that. But you got to face that. And you've also got to face the fact that you deserve love. You deserve, affection. Like, if somebody's not communicating with you, if somebody's not showing up for you, if somebody's not doing the work, if you haven't seen them improve or get better, then that would be a clear indication that I need to work on me getting better, because I shouldn't even want this. I shouldn't be attracted to this. I shouldn't be drawn to this. So where in my life do I need to work on to figure out that? Because if we had things in our lives as children that we grew up around that we saw that weren't healthy, that can put us into a position of finding these partners that cannot provide to us. And I realized too, like, what better way for me to come out of a toxic karmic situation of 10 years with a narcissistic, abusive person that, like, undermined everything, was a control freak, was an asshole, couldn't stand, like, right? He fucking goes to jail. I got free. But dealing with twin, right? He's not emotionally available. He has a hard time communicating. He has improved, but that's also because I think I have improved. But if we go back to those, 6 years ago when my person went to jail and I started connecting with twin again, I was a chaser energy. I was constantly, I would have been, I can't imagine, like, not us coming together. Now I can be like, okay about it. Like it's been so fucking much time that it's like, whatever. That's kind of just how it is, man. But the thing is, I feel like there was a protection mechanism within that whole thing of, like, I'm just gonna focus on you who doesn't want me, you who keeps rejecting me, you who keeps, like, ignoring me, you who keeps, like, pushing me away and not wanting to deal with me. Let me like you. And also not, because I wasn't really pursuing them, I wasn't really reaching out to them, I wasn't really engaging or doing anything. I always felt like I was chasing in a much more bigger way than I actually was, because of the anxiety that I felt. So that energy is chaser energy, and that will keep them away from you. But I realized after a while, I'm like, he calls me every time that we see each other. He's always the one to first reach out. He's always the one to, like, make that initial contact. He's always been that, There's been a few times that I was, hey, but, like, for the most part, he's always been the one to do it and to, like, initiate and decide, like, oh, we're gonna connect. And, like, those 3 months that we spent getting closer and building that thing and doing the Moon key rites and doing this and doing that, like, again, it was him calling he would call me. Every phone call, he called me. Every text, it was him who started. There was a few times but I'd say, like, 1 out of 9 it was, like, not a lot of times that I would ever be the first. And if I was the first, it was just to, like, confirm something that he and I had set up. So that shift in that energy alone can release that resistance and make that way so they can come if like that's supposed to be. But if you're so anxious about it, you're gonna block it. But I feel like I was, protecting myself in a way because I had just come out of craziness, and so I wasn't really, like, wanting to go, like, be back into something like that. Like, I just broke out of there. What better way to protect myself than to, be interested in somebody that's not interested in me? So that means that I'm, like, keeping myself from being in a relationship because I'm afraid of a relationship that's going to be another abusive, toxic shit show. And I've seen that in other people too. It's like we want these we don't even really want these things. It's like we just focus or we connect with or we deal with these things that on the surface feel a certain way, appear a certain way, seem a certain way. But when you look under the surface, you realize like, well, maybe this is a defense mechanism, or maybe there's something to this that you're not really looking at, or you're not realizing, or you haven't had that aha moment with. And when you do, and you drop out of there, that's when the shifts are going to happen. Because like when he started showing up and like coming, you know, it was totally different. And he even like made note on that. That's why he was showing up, and that's why he was coming towards me, because I wasn't caring like I had those first couple of years. Because those first couple of years when we would spend time together, I was awkward, I was like nervous, I wanted to be perfect, I didn't want to mess up, and because of that nervous, weird energy, it was like a repellent. But the more cool, calm, collected I became about it, the less like attached to an outcome about it, the less less attached to him that I was, the more he felt safe to come pursue me, the more he felt safe to come present to me. But again, that's a mirror, because he sees I'm now safe to go after, because I'm like, you know, not wanting that connection now that I don't want it. You can come near me and try to go after it because it's not available. Wanting what you can't have, basically. So I'm just wanting what I can't have, and by wanting what I can't have, I'm by default protecting myself from being in a relationship that could ultimately hurt me, because I don't want to get hurt again. And I think that's what it all comes down to with a lot of people, is we don't want to get hurt. We don't want to be, you know, in these things. When we do get rejected, we get upset and our egos get bruised, and then we want to fix that. We want to hear the opposite. We want to feel like, no, he didn't reject me, like he's just this, or like we want excuses for it. That's our ego coming up with why they treated us that way. Why did they choose that person over us? Why did they do this thing that they did? It's our ego. And when we recognize that, and we make those shifts in our brain, and we cool down a little bit, and we stop being crazy about the shit, massive change happens around us in our life in a way that we feel, and it just frees us. And it allows us to improve and heal and get better. And because of that, usually that thing that we wanted so bad that we couldn't have and it wasn't working starts to come. Because we're now like, and that's how like this world is. So if you can find the balance between that, going into that energy of balance within your love, you know, give and receive in balance, and just be aware of these things, have that enlightened energy about this stuff, you can probably make massive change in your life and make your life a lot easier and understand things a lot easier. This says, you have been indoors for too long, go outside from fresh air. So again, like if you guys have water nearby, go outside, connect with water. That message should come through about that. You know, there's an infinite supply, there's love that's undying. We need to go outside, we need to get grounded, we need to release these emotions that we've held on to. And then there is no need to hurry or force things to happen. Everything is occurring in perfect timing. So that's the thing too, to realize like divine timing is at play within all our lives. We cannot speed up things, we cannot like, you know, manipulate that type of stuff. The more that we try to speed things up, the more that we get impatient, the more that we're gonna wait. And that's again that thing, like I said, if I focus on that thing of that karmic person, the more I'm going to see of that karmic person. The more I focus on that thing that's all pissing me off, the more that thing's going to continue to piss me off. The more that I focus on, I want this to happen and I'm impatient about it, the longer it's going to take. So if I just say, okay, I trust the universe to give me my cosmic thing, and I'm like, whatever, and I do my thing and I work on me and I heal my stuff, I should know it's just going to come. Create an altar or visit a power place to connect with the divine. Do the sacred work. Do the rituals. Do the inner exploration. Do the journaling. Do the belief work. Do the exercise that I'm going to do for you guys today more than once. Because that is a powerful thing. That is how we make change. That is how we figure this shit out. That's how we get somewhere in our life. Not watching some pick a card. Not figuring out what someone's thinking, because they probably aren't thinking it, you know. Maybe they're thinking it, but who cares if they're thinking it if there's no action happening, you know? Until you're changed or your things are shifted or all these things have, you know, come into a place of like, I'm cool, calm, collected, and I'm good, and I'm all right, and I figured this out, and I'm releasing that, and I'm letting things be, and I just, whatever is, the more we can be like that, the better things will be. And then go check out a reading and see what it says, because I guarantee you it's going to be like a much higher vibration. There'll probably be like, oh, there's no of that toxic karmic manipulation, none of this like because if we're focused and stressed and about stuff and what do you think is going to manifest within our readings and our energy fields and our experiences and our karmic lessons and our people that we attract, and the way our day goes, and if we get stuck at that red light, or if we have that thing take longer to, and we slip down there quick. But if we create the sacred space and we bring ourselves up, we can rise up out of those places just as fast, and it could be a much better existence and experience for everybody involved in this world to just kind of let themselves heal. So I just opened up to Kuan Yin, which is about compassion, and I feel like this needs to be, because she was here. So forgive yourself, forgive others. Compassion for another's situation is important at this time. Consider another person's point of view, and choose connection rather than separateness. Within East Asia, Buddhism, Taoism, Kuan Yin is the goddess of mercy and compassion. She is a bodhisattva, one who assists others in attaining enlightenment. She is her name literally means one who hears the cries of the world. Her energy is that of a mother, and she is perhaps one of the most popular goddesses in Asia. Her myth is rich and complex. She was said to have beautiful Princess Mao Shan, who dedicated her life to a religious practice. Struggling against great odds in her father's cruelty, she attained enlightenment in part by forgiving her father. However, she so loves humanity and had so much compassion that she declined heaven and instead continued to work to this day, helping others achieve happiness and perfect love. The gentle goddess often appears in long white robes, signifying her purity and goodness, and she carries a vase filled with water, which symbolizes her flow of compassion upon the world. Kuan Yin is a popular deity to consult with when you are sick, or simply because of her merciful nature and in the way that she will intercede with you when you are suffering. So she will come, if you're sick or you're sad or you're suffering, you're struggling, she's going to bring that water and that blessing. So for us to find the beginning of true peace and to extend a compassionate hand to others, we must start with compassion for ourselves. Accepting who we are and where we are without judgment is a wise place to begin. Should Kuan Yin make herself known to you, it may be a signal to be kinder to yourself and forgive yourself for your past actions. And it may be that you are judging yourself too harshly or expecting too much of yourself. She is also an action-oriented deity who encourages you to make changes. So Kuan Yin has unerringly calm and loving nature without particular shadow side. However, displaying martyr energy is not what this goddess would ask. We do not have to put ourselves last in order to be compassionate to others. There is balance. So a long flowing gown, vase, bamboo shoot, and child in arms are symbols connected to her. And that's funny because I don't know if you guys saw that statue that was made for JFK or what? No, there was a statue made for somebody, and it's supposed to be like arms holding a baby, I think, but it looks like arms holding poop or arms holding a penis. It's like a thing made in Boston. It's like hideous looking from the view that you see it as. It's just arms, two arms, no head, no body, and then like a lump of thing in the arms. But she's a child in arms is her symbol. So Kuan Yin is worshipped actively across many countries and spiritual practices, so it's easy to find living mantras to invoke her. Here is a meditation that I like to use. Light a white candle. I'm gonna need a white, pink, and blue. And see with the eyes, hear with the ears. Squeeze and breathe this new truth and this new feeling into the younger you, into the younger body. That desire, seeing with those eyes at the future. Just notice whatever's different. Maybe it's within the mind or the body, or the soul. Whatever it is, wherever it is there. And it has freed you to now be able to create that new experience easily and effortlessly. Your end result does not have to be blocked anymore. And you can come back to this now moment. And you can use this process as many times as you like, whenever you need, for whatever you need in your world, in your experiences. You could journal about your experience if you like, however you feel appropriate, to surface and cement in your beliefs. When we write things down, when we take note of them, when we put pen to paper, we create 10,000 neural pathways for new information, new programming. You'll be giving yourself an added bonus to put pen to paper about your experience, what you saw, who you were, where you were, who was there, who wasn't there, what you did, what you thought, why it may have connected to other times. And if you didn't get any direct information, or you feel like you missed something along the way, you can go back and do it again. And don't hold any high expectation on yourself. Just know that you do know. You are infinitely aware. You have everything you need inside of you. You are the main driving force in all that you do, and all that you will do, and all that you have, and all that you will have, and all is available to you to be programmed and reprogrammed and healed and release. And this is also something that you can share with others. You can guide other people in the way that I've guided you. When we teach what we learn, it cements it in a different way, because now we're not the student of it, we're the master of it now. We're the teacher of it. So don't ever feel like you're limited, or you're not good enough to do, or you can't have, or you whatever it is. Like, we want to start realizing that you have the same potential as anybody else. You can do anything that anybody else can do. And when you start realizing that, believing that, and acting on it, taking those things, even if it's just with a family member, a friend, even if you just record yourself for yourself, get practice doing those things. If you have a desire, if you have a drive, you want more for yourself, you want to help other people at some point, at some time, in some way, practice. However you're comfortable practicing, take the action steps, however you're comfortable taking them. Show up for yourself. And when you do, you're going to notice other people show up for you too more. Events show up for you more. Opportunities show up for you more. Abundance shows up for you more. Love shows up for you more. Good things show up for you. All right. So this is definitely different from the first one. But we still got, all that in. We got everything in that the first one had. I think this one probably might even be better, and you guys want to let me know? Yeah, let me know. Nobody ever gives me any feedback. Even when I'm live, nobody speaks. So it's like, why am I here? You guys, we're here together. You can talk. Tell me. Sometimes, that can make you insecure when you're live, and people don't say anything. There's no feedback. You're like, are they there? Can they hear me? Did they like it? I try not to let those things get to me too much, because if I did, I would never do anything. But that's how my lives go a lot of times. It's different. On YouTube or Instagram, everybody talks. But when I do a live on my website, it's everyone all quiet. I don't know. It's just what happens. So I just go with it. But, if it did help you, let me know. I am trying to be more better about doing the things that I need to do to grow and improve and all of that for myself, but also with business and things like that. So if you ever have a review that you want to leave, that's my dog trying to choke himself to get up here. Hi, Sirius. If you ever want to leave a review or anything like that, if you Google divineessentials.com, Google will bring up, Google Divine Essentials. My website has a thing. There's Google reviews. Etsy has reviews. My website has reviews too, but they're for the products and stuff. I don't think I don't know if you could review this particular thing on the website. I don't know if the events have that. Um, but yeah, you know, or you could even just send me one in an email or feedback in an email, and I can make like a little picture to share in places. But I'm trying to like be more mindful of those things, because that's what makes the difference. Is like when you actually, you know, show people, hey, look, like I get a lot of people who tell me things. Oh, you helped me with this, and it was amazing. I have a lot of emails from people over the years and feedback over the years, but I didn't like collect them and showcase them like a lot of people do. And that's stupid of me, because it's kind of like, you know, how we prove like we have valuable offers, or we have products that work, or we have gifts that are gifted. um, so yeah, I'm going to try to be more mindful of those things, and just that in itself, just me being aware of that, me speaking on that right now, is an indicator to me that I am realizing like I'm not a bad person. I can have my end desire of comfort and good things, and then helping more people, because like that was like, if I were to get my end result of what I wanted, like feel peaceful and comfortable and secure and all of those things, right? Then what that would be meaning, what I could do or what would happen is that I could help more people to acquire that too. And so if I can help more people to acquire that, then obviously, you know, then I would probably get more reviews from people, or feedback from people, or experiences with people, and an evolution of things that are going to grow from that. So I really do believe in these things. It's all a matter of showing up for them. So the fact that you guys showed up is like huge. So know that you've already made the initial big huge step by being here. Going through that one thing is huge. Was the first night that I did that, was the first night that I started these steps from the physical world of things. So doing it as above, so below, and it's like each day is corresponding. So now what I'm gonna go do is watch day 3 of the mind mastery stuff for reprogramming the mind. And I will probably be, you know, sharing more things like this. I also have somatic things and the NLP stuff that I've been learning. I shared one on the Divine Essentials channel, but that's not the only one that I learned that night. That like I had started the night not being able to stand properly because of the pain in my feet, and by the end of that process, I had been crying, releasing, yawning. My feet were flat on the floor for the first time in a long time. So I know these things work. I'm 100% like convinced that they do work, and they do change things for us. But we gotta show up and do them, and also believe in them. You know, if we don't believe in things, then they won't work. But yeah, thank you guys very much. And Renee, namaste.